Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to take a look at a news item that has just broken free over the last 48 hours. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Roisin for giving me the heads up on this article that it slipped directly under my radar. And to all of you, anybody else who's watching the videos, if you've got something that you think is important, please put it in those comments, because I do read them, and if it's good, I will act upon them. If it's relevant, I'll act upon them. If it's factual, I'll act upon them. Now, this particular note refers to the most senior of UK diplomats who put pen to paper just 48 hours ago that will be about as welcome to the Oompa Loompa Frost and Bojo the Clown during negotiations as a dose of syphilis would be to a bishop. So let's go.
Good Lord, didn't anybody here subscribe?
Now, in December 29, Alexandra Hall resigned from her post as Brexit counsellor numero uno at the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. What had not come to the attention of most in the public arena was why. And boy, oh boy, she didn't hold back in any shape, manner or form, and the EU negotiators are now not going to be able to ignore it. Their hands are handcuffed now. Now, I don't make that claim in any haphazard fashion. You see, up until the announcement by Cummings that was later confirmed by Paisley Jr. that the Brexiteer Numpty Brigade had no intention of abiding by the withdrawal agreement, there had only really been suspicion that the UK would act dishonourably, or were acting dishonourably. Now, however, if you are a European and say in the middle of a presidential election campaign, or maybe you're a European leader and are trying to galvanise support to form a new government, or perhaps you're looking at a new general election next year and you want to show the truth of your conviction to put your country's interests first, no matter the pressure exerted on you by other members of the EU or deputy president of the EU, and your voters are aware that the very country that is currently making life difficult for every member of the EU, well, perhaps now is the time that you draw your own line in the sand and make it crystal clear that you will push for economic sanctions against anybody or any country that is perceived to be threatening the livelihood of your nation. That's what politicians do. They act on perception. Now just think about that for a while as we examine Alexandra Hall's open letter that appeared in all places in the Texas National Security Review, but has now been picked up by the BBC. Now, all the negotiators are faced with a very new reality. Okay? The UK voters will also soon be faced with the reality that as Bojo and the Oompa Loompa, as well as the complete Brexiteer brigade, met with Biden at the G7, those same people would have been meeting with exactly their same counterparts that Alexandra Hall would have dealt with. Okay, remember, she was the most senior diplomat attached to the UK embassy in the US, tasked specifically with handling Brexit in the American political arena. So when that G7 summit took place, they'd already been exposed to the bull, okay? And they had already spoken privately to the UK diplomats. Now, she was placed there originally to keep the channels of communication open because of UK concerns over the Good Friday Agreement. Now, it wasn't the Good Friday Agreement itself, it was more the effect of endangering the Good Friday Agreement with the American. And she wasn't at all happy with Bojo. Now, what we will see in our resignation letter later in the video, that has been officially published for the first time, and therefore lends even greater weight to the pressure that is sure now to be exerted on the EU negotiating team, because now their hands are tied. So please bear with me, as it's extremely important, and we'll go through her personal resignation letter that she sent that would have been passed up the line to the Secretary for Foreign Affairs. It's extremely important, okay? The reason she quit, by the way, was, and I'm quoting here from the press statement, the original statement, that she could no longer, you ready for this, peddle half-truths on behalf of political leaders she did not trust. She clarified this when she said she felt conflicted as a civil servant who felt her own government was implementing Brexit in a way that was deliberately misleading and a violation of her duty to act with integrity. Okay? She went even further to tell of her lowest point. Now, guys, wait for this. When she heard a senior British minister openly and offensively, directly in front of a US audience, dismiss the impact of a no-deal Brexit on Irish businesses as just affecting a few farmers with turnips in the back of their trucks. Now, this is an audience that's there probably in the British Embassy or some other highfalutin place, and the people attending that would have been serious dudes. You don't have the Brexit guy and the US Senate guy and the Foreign Affairs US guys at meetings like that where you do not have serious dudes in that meeting. It just doesn't happen. Not only that, but she also refers to other staff members who face the prospect of having to lie on behalf of their political masters. She summed it up rather eloquently, which is something that Sefcovic will have to handle. When she said of Johnson and the Brexiteers, and I'm quoting her here, okay, they were not simply putting a positive spin on policy, a normal practice of any government, but were willfully disingenuous. They downplayed the impact of Brexit on the ability of ordinary citizens, UK citizens, to live, to work, or to study in the European Union, or even collaborate with EU citizens or EU institutions. They downplayed the cost of having to create new institutions and programs in the United Kingdom to replace the ones the UK had previously belonged to in the European Union. Quoting, guys, the UK downplayed the increased friction that was likely for businesses trading between the United Kingdom and the EU member states, as well as third countries such as the United States. So she could see problems down the road. But most damagingly, the talking points also downplayed the consequences of Brexit for the delicate peace process in Northern Ireland, which the United States, let's not forget, was a core stakeholder, having helped to broker the Good Friday Agreement and supported it strenuously since then. She went on to say that sometimes she had to answer to the questions that US stakeholders posed to her, and that the professional ethos of the British diplomatic service was at the time, it was felt that it was made up of upstanding civil servants steeped in integrity who didn't lie. And yet, that was precisely what they were being asked to do. They were being asked to lie. Okay? Now I'm going to finish this video with a short paragraph from her resignation letter, which has only just been published. That has now been, it's now official basically, so we can comment on it. And it is as heartfelt as it is as damning to the current government that is taking the UK down the path from which there is little integrity, little fortune, or little hope that should it continue, the UK as we know today will last and may well be lost forever. Now, in our resignation letter, she says, quoting, "I will not deny that I've been increasingly dismayed by the way in which our political leaders have tried to deliver Brexit, with reluctance to address honestly, even with our own citizens, the challenges and trade-offs which Brexit involves. The use of misleading or disingenuous arguments about the implications of the various options before us, and some behaviour towards our institutions which, were it happening in another country, we would almost certainly as diplomats have received instructions from the political masters to register our concern." Okay? It makes our job to promote democracy and the respect for the rule of law overseas that much harder. if we are not seen to be upholding those core values at home. The UK's international credibility depends on our reputation for honesty, for decency, and common sense. Okay? It has therefore been highly dispiriting as a diplomat to witness the significant harm which has been done to that reputation, as well as very painful to observe the incredulity of our international friends and partners who believe, like I do, that a great nation like the United Kingdom can and should do better. Okay? Now, they're pretty, that's in a resignation letter. And please take the trouble to read it. It's quite a long article, but well worth the read. Now, I'd like to finish this video with a simple message. Take a look, crop it, edit it, do whatever you need to do with it to get this message out there, that there are still principled people in the UK, and this numpty brigade of Brexiteers need to be voted out. Thanks again, Roisin, much appreciated for the heads up, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the flip side. Take care, best of luck, enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.